What is artificial intelligence? What is AI doing to criminal defense law firm? What is AI? What effect is AI having on all of us criminal defense lawyers? If you want to know the answer, tune in and find out.
You are listening to the Prosper at Law podcast. Learn how to reduce stress, have more time, and make more money. Come on in.
I'm Greg McCollum, and I built a 7-figure criminal defense law firm. I formed Prosper at Law to show criminal defense law firm owners who are desperate for success how to grow from under $200,000 to $1 million and beyond. Hi, I'm Greg McCollum. I just want to talk about AI. Okay, this is a hot topic right now. We're doing a lot of this at our events, at our mastermind, and our event coming up in September. You know, we're going deep into AI, and one of the reasons is because it's changing the world, and it's going to have an immense impact on our criminal defense law firms. And so, you know, we want people to understand it and know about it so that it's something that helps you rather than hurts you. We don't want people to be left standing unaware, and it's there. You know, there are people that don't like it. There's a lot of people that are against it, and there's a lot of valid concerns. However, it's there. It's not going away, and so we have to deal with it. So if you look at what's the biggest impact it's having on criminal defense lawyers, and I've been dealing with this now for a couple of years, and I spent a lot of time going to what I would call personal injury seminars. I was in coaching programs and learning programs and seminars and 3-day, 4-day long events dominated by personal injury lawyers. And so I'm hearing all of these things. And so one of the things that I heard a lot, and this is for a couple of years now, that, how personal injury lawyers are using AI, to draft their demands and improve their systems and how they're processing their claims. And I can see that because, I've done personal injury cases. I've tried personal injury cases. I don't do them anymore, but they're information dominant. They're information and word and document intensive. So it's easy to see how AI can help with that. It's been harder for me to see how it's going to help criminal defense lawyers. And unfortunately, the things that I had access to, and a lot of things I still have access to, they're focused on, personal injury lawyers. Personal injury lawyers dominate the learning space. And so criminal defense lawyers really largely were kind of just left out of that conversation. And so many times when I've been at these events, and I'm thinking, okay, that's good to know. However, for me to figure out how to reduce, quote, time on desk for my personal injury claim, time on desk before it settles, that's not a factor for me. I've got a criminal defense client. I've got a criminal case where somebody got arrested, got a bond hearing, and now we're going toward trial, because every criminal case starts off with the premise that it's a trial, because you can't just go throw yourself at the mercy of the court and have all your clients go into prison. You have to figure out the case. And so I couldn't really understand, how is artificial intelligence going to help me investigate my criminal case? Now, if I'm doing searches on somebody's background or a witness or something like that, that's not hard to figure out. You do a search for the person and then you find information. We just did that recently on somebody in an assault case where we wanted to find out something about the accuser's background. And we were able to find, just doing basic searches that are AI enhanced, which everybody has access to. If you have a Google account, you have the AI part of that, in Gemini, where it starts out. And we were able to get a lot of information about prior convictions and things like that. So, you don't really need a course for that. You just need a keyboard and to start typing. And so it was hard for me to see what impact, if any, is this really going to have on criminal defense lawyers. And so the more I explored it, the more I thought about it, and the more I saw the changes, it seems like the biggest impact, clearly to me, is on search. And so it's on marketing, right? Let's say it's on marketing, and then it's on sales. But just running through it, what are the 7 parts of a law firm? If you have a law firm, it has 7 basic parts. The 7th part being you, who everything, it revolves around you. You're the one that's in charge of it. You're the entrepreneur. You're the one that created it. So the 7 parts of a law firm is you have marketing, you have sales, you have people, you have your physical space, you have your factory, which is your systems and your processes. You have your metrics, which is the financial numbers and also the case numbers and your client count and those metrics. Then you have you. So sitting here today, if you ask me this question 3 years from now, 5 years from now, how is it going to affect marketing? How's it going to affect sales? How's it going to affect your people? Chances are we'll all know because we can look back and say that happened. So in terms of how it's going to affect you, and I'll take these from the bottom back up, I think for you, it's just you decide where and how you're going to use it. So you need to be aware of it. You need to look at it. In terms of your metrics, in terms of your accounting system, your finances, your growth projections, I can see some role in there where it's just helping you project out based on past numbers and past growth, gives you some ability to make projections and to see where you're going. But really, in a lot of senses, I don't know how it helps in terms of my bookkeeping and my number creation. Maybe there's an answer there, but it doesn't jump out at me. In terms of factory processes, I think those are still maybe being developed. There should be some role, but I don't see it yet. We're not doing it yet where it's used to help inform clients and send information. And that's a tricky business there because, depending on how your platform is set up, you can't put your client information out into the AI cloud because now that's public information. So you have to have a closed-in system in order to do that as like the CRM system or something like that. Your physical space, I don't know how it ever affects your office space, except maybe you have fewer employees, and so you need less of it. The people, the idea with businesses that are using AI, it's that it would make their people more productive because you have all these AI agents that are helping them do these routine tasks. A lot of the things that we do in criminal defense, though, is really people-oriented. Certainly, we send the notices out, and we have the court calendars and things like that, and we have the discovery motion, and we get the discovery back. And so there could be some AI advantage in how we go through that stuff. Certainly, if you have a complex case, if you have 1 million documents and that sort of thing, the answer there is fairly obvious of how it helps you search. But in a shooting or something like that, so you've got the police officer's video, you got the crime scene video where they probably videotaped it and took the pictures, and then you're talking to witnesses. I don't really see a situation where you can use an AI agent, to go talk to a witness. If your case is, you got a court hearing and you want to get it continued and it's scheduled, and we have these just random show up appearances which go nowhere. And so it's for our practice in Myrtle Beach, we've got clients, they may be from 3 or 4 states away. We may have somebody who lives in Connecticut, and then they're supposed to appear in Conway, South Carolina, right outside of Myrtle Beach, on a Friday for 10 minutes for nothing. And we're trying to get them excused so they don't have to get on a plane and fly down here for a worthless 10-minute meeting. I just don't see it where AI is going to help us fix that, because that's a situation where, our paralegal is contacting the paralegal in the DA's office, giving the reason why that person should not have to come, and then that paralegal in the DA's office is saying they have to come, and then our paralegals contacting one of our lawyers to track down the actual assistant DA and explain that and get permission to get the person excused. So that's a lot of what we are doing, okay? And so how is AI going to fix that? Now, if the DA's office wanted to implement a system that helps clients and helps defendants not have to fly across the country for some worthless meeting, yeah, then they could use it. They could probably do a lot with it. But I've never seen any system or any prosecution system that was even remotely concerned with the inconvenience of the so-called defendant. They're not doing anything to make life better for the so-called criminals. So I just don't see that. They could do it, but I don't see them doing it. So then then the sales and conversion. I've been told, and I can see there's some things there, but where it really jumps out to me is marketing. Marketing is clearly the biggest impact of AI, and it's going to change it. It's already changing it, and it's changing quickly. And you have this idea now that, there's always been change in life. We go from literally horses and wagons, to trains. And you think about the development of the United States and the continental shift and moving across, a train could go, has to stop and get, coal or wood and steam or water to make steam or whatever. But, you could put a bunch of people on that train, and that train will go a long way and go really fast and can cross the whole country versus getting in a wagon and riding with some ruts in the road, okay, and trying to get across the same country is completely different. And then you have, the invention of the cars. And so now once roads are built, cars, are better than trains. And so we go through all of that. And then you get into airliners and airplanes and that whole industry. So there's that shift. Everything has changed dramatically. And so, the time it took for those changes to take place, generally it was, say, just 50 years. The world would change in 50 years. Then it got to where it would change more quickly. So you have something like a Blockbuster or a Kodak or something like that, and it take them a while to go out of business. But now you have a situation where, generally people that know these things are saying that 50 years of change is 5 years now. That every 5 years we have what we're used to is 50 years of change. And so it happens quickly, and AI is happening now. This change is taking place now, and it's going on. And so, and as a criminal defense lawyer, and at one of my last events, it was a Prosperous Law Mastermind. I was talking to a lawyer that is, he's in Texas. He's a very good lawyer. He has other lawyers working for him. They do a great job. He has a great law firm. He's well over $1 million. I can't remember if he's over 2 million, but he's right in that range, and they do great work for people. And he was lamenting that, I went to law school, I got a law degree. I became licensed as a criminal lawyer, and I learned how to do criminal defense, which is something I care about. I did all of that to be a lawyer. I didn't do that, to make TikTok videos. I didn't do that in order to sit around writing blogs. I didn't do that in order to, create a category or catalog of YouTube videos that I could play to try to get a client. He just wants to get the clients and represent the clients and do his job and then go home to his family or go to, his hunting property or something like that. He had no intention, no inclination of becoming a marketing expert and spending his time as like some basically, YouTube junior TV personality expert in order to get cases. And, a lot of lawyers feel that way. And I felt that way too. At some point, I remember when somebody told me that I need to get my photograph on my business card. I was I was opposed to that. I wasn't trying to be famous. I wasn't trying to put my image out there. I really had no interest in doing that. I just wanted to be private, but then get my cases and do a good job, and then go to court and do what I do, and then go home. I wasn't trying to be a celebrity. I wasn't trying to be some celebrity lawyer. I wasn't trying to have fame. I just wanted to have fortune. I just wanted to have clients. So this is what's happened to all of us. And the problem is, we were forced into being Google participants because, the digital marketing with Google did what it did. And so if we didn't follow up with that, then, we're not going to get as many cases, because you got to the point to where every case, when I started practicing in the 90s, I think I opened my law firm at the end of 1993, and I was a member of, different organizations. I was in some directories. I was a life member of the National Association of Criminal Defense Lawyers. I was a member of the South Carolina Association of Criminal Defense Lawyers. I went to seminars and I met people, outside of my geography, which was important for me because, Myrtle Beach was a tourist town. We had, 15, 16 million visitors, and that there's a lot of people that get arrested for different things for that, some serious, some not so serious. And so there were going to be referrals coming from out of state, from other places in South Carolina. And so every single case was a referral. Every single case I got was a referral. There was no other way that I got cases. Now, I did have this one little brief time where I decided I was going to get in the phone book, and that's actually a topic for another podcast. But every case was a referral because somebody needed a criminal defense lawyer and somebody knew me, and so they found their way to me. They may have called a lawyer, in their hometown in Ohio, and then that lawyer called another lawyer in Ohio who did criminal defense, who maybe was a member of the NACDL, the National Association of Criminal Defense Lawyers. And then that lawyer, would look in his book, because we had these books, and look for Myrtle Beach and see my name and say, oh, well, he's a life member. Oh, I think I met him at a seminar, a year ago. And so would literally call me and say, hey, I'm referring somebody to you. This is his name, and I'm giving him your number, so watch out for the call. Every single case came in like that. Well, we all know what happened. Google happened, search happened, the internet happened. And so now what happens is we spend all this time trying to, beef up our SEO. We're compelled to buy the pay-per-click ads, then we're compelled to buy the LSAs. And so we spend all this time and money building up our SEO, and then making sure our website, is built the right way, that it's optimized for search. And so what's search? What's Google search? Somebody types in 3 or 4 words. So you say, like, Google question may be bond hearing in South Carolina, what happens? So there's your keywords: bond hearing, South Carolina, and then if it's tied into your website, that gets them on your website, gets them on a landing page. Hopefully your website is, looks the right way and encourages them to, send you a message or to call you, and then you have a conversation with them. So now what's happening? So now with AI, AI is not based on what you call keywords. I mean, keywords and AI are two different things. So what happens with AI is somebody types, what happens at a bond hearing in South Carolina, and can I get out the same day? So now, and that's really a pretty short inquiry, in my opinion, because a lot of times when I'm searching something, I'm writing 3 or 4 sentences. Sometimes when I'm really working on something, I write a short paragraph and put in all the parameters. And so now what happens is, and that's called, if you don't know this, that's called a long language model. If you hear the term LLM, that's what that means. And you also hear some terms, there's an SEO, search engine optimization. Some people call it like AEO. Some people call it GEO, like general engine optimization. Some people call it artificial intelligence optimization. And so it's really, there's no good term for it yet. People don't know even what to call it yet. But where it's headed is that you get this concept, which is called a zero-click search. And what that does is that means when somebody's searching, and even if the person doesn't have a Chat GPT account, if they haven't bought a Claude or a Grok or whatever that is, they just are searching on Google, but they're in Gemini, they're in AI. They may not even think about it and realize they're in AI, but then you have this phenomenon now, which is called zero-click search. And that means that somebody is looking for an answer and the AI is trying to give them an answer, and so they never even click your website. In traditional search, the numbers say that could drop by 25%, say in 2026, if you look at this. So what's this doing? It means that, oh, great, the tsunami's coming. We spent all this time. We spent all this money. We've hired all these vendors. We've created the optimal website. We've got all the blogs. We've got all the terms. We've done everything we're supposed to do so that we can get the cases and help the people we need to help and get paid and have a decent life. And now everything is crumbling. Everything is changing because now we're going to go into zero-click searches, okay? And it's coming fast, okay? So you need to be aware of this. If you don't know what I'm talking about, start paying attention because you don't want to wake up and have the entire, ability to get a client just pass you by. You don't want to be a person which would be like you never bought a computer when computers came out. You never learned to use a computer. You're not interested in computers. You don't want to be that person. You have to, like it or not, have to get engaged in this and have to start understanding it. There's information out there, and also talk to your vendors, talk to the people that are doing your SEO. Make sure that they're doing the things to at least stay current, even if they're not on the cutting edge. So I hope this is helpful. We'll see you next time.
If you want to know more, go to prosperatelaw.com. We show criminal defense law firm owners how to reduce stress, have more free time, and make more money. Thanks for listening.